H1B lottery. A lot of people are anticipating to participate in the H1B. And our goal is for everybody to fully understand H1B and eventually win the H1B lottery. So today we're going to talk about a comprehensive guide on H1B visa and also a little bit of prediction side on the upcoming H1B lottery. And today we have Joyce Rowe with us. She is a immigration attorney. She has her JD and she is also a California State Bar attorney. Welcome, Joyce.
Hello,
And
everyone.
yeah, and for today's session, we're gonna talk about three parts. H1B visa, what are the rules, numbers, lotteries. We're also gonna talk about steps you must take for the H1B application and what timelines is that. And eventually, what are my backup plans if I'm not selected by the H1B? And we're also gonna have a Q&A session longer than usual. We're gonna take more time answering your questions. And if you have additional follow-up questions, feel free to scan a QR code and let us know. So before we begin everything, I do want to share a little bit about our company. We are located in Los Angeles. Go Elite is a professional consultancy agency. Our main services would be Day 1 CBT university applications. We also do F1 reinstatement or emergency transfer. We do change of status applications as well. So our mission is always to make students' American dreams come true. And then we are certified by AIRC as one of the first 6 ARC certified agency in the whole US. And then we are on Google reviews. We currently have more than 200, I would say 80 Google reviews. So feel free to check us out at Go Elite Inc. And here is our social media as well as other contact information. So without further ado, I will let Joyce take the stage.
Yes, hello, everyone. My name is Joyce Rowe. I'm happy to meet you guys online today. Ryan already introduced me about me briefly, but as I'm an attorney admitted to California State Bar, currently as a founder and a managing attorney of Rohan Law Office, I practice law in Buena Park, Orange County, California. And as I'm specialized in immigration law, I'm handling change of status cases at Go Elite and provide legal consultation for current and potential client regarding immigration law. And in fact, I'm from South Korea and used to be an international student for so long. I attended undergraduate program and law school in Los Angeles and became an immigrant. So I genuinely understand its clients' situation and their desire whenever I handle immigration cases, especially for change of status and green card. And today I'm talking about H1B and then specifically for three topics. First, what is an H1B lottery? Second, what's the step for H1B application and timeline for H1B? And third, what's the other option if your H1B registration was not selected? I'll give you a quick presentation and then like to hear your question through Q&A session. So for non-immigrants in the United States, I believe that H1B is one of the popular and well-known non-immigrant status. With H1B classification, employers in the United States temporarily enabled to employ foreign workers in occupation that require the specialized knowledge and a bachelor degree or higher degree like master or PhD. And once the initial petition is approved, initially 3 years is granted for an employee to work. And by applying for the extension of H1B, additional 3 years will be granted upon approval of your petition. And I think you've heard the H1B cap. H1B cap is the annual limit or the maximum number of H1B that USCIS can issue in a fiscal year as set by the US Congress. The regular cap, H1B cap, is the most common one, and it is referred to as a non-advanced degree cap that is set to 65,000 petitions per fiscal year. And there is one HB advanced degree cap that is referred to as master's cap for applicants who have earned a U.S. master degree or higher, and this is set to 20,000 petition per fiscal year. And starting from H1B fiscal year 2021, H1 registration process has been introduced, and the employer should make registration before submitting the H1B petition. And it actually saves cost and effort for everyone. And to explain about this process, I'd like to share my experience with you guys. So several years ago, it was like 2017, when I filed my H1B petition, and when there was no H1B registration process, each applicant spent time to prepare the entire H1 petition and submit it to USCIS with the payment check for the application fee. And then we are waiting to see whether the check payment was cleared on the employer's bank account. If it happened, it means that my petition was selected, and then we assume that USCIS start to review my petition. And then for applicants who were not selected, they already spent their money and time to hire attorney and preparing petition, but nothing was returned since they were not selected. So to fix these kind of issues in 2020, USCIS introduced the registration process. And since then, the employer registered the account first and then submit the registration for their employee. And once employee's registration is selected, then those selected applicant only will submit H1B petition to USCIS. And I'll talk about this in detail later. And now you see the USCIS chart I'm sharing with you guys. This shows a number related to H1B registration and selected applicants. And you may see that the total number of registration has been increased since 2021. And in 2024, the total number of registration is 780,884. And eligible registration, this means that the total registration, excluding duplicate registration or those deleted by the prospective employer or those with failed payment, and the total number is slightly changed to 758,994. And considering that 118,400 were totally selected out of this 758,994, selection rate for fiscal year 2024 was about 24.8%. And actually, USCIS conducted multiple rounds of lottery selection as a result of not filling the annual quota after the first round of selection, likely due to many registration receiving multiple selection. So if I give you the more breakdown information, in the initial round happened in April 2023, 110,791 selected, meaning that selection rate was about 14.2%. And in the second round, additional round in July 2023, 77,600 people got selected. So selection rate was about 12%. And can we go to next page? And now I'd like to talk about this year H1B selection 2025. USCIS defines that the fiscal year 2025 begins from October 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2025. Always, USCIS accept H1B petition for the next fiscal year about 6 months before the start of the fiscal year. So just like last year, we expect that USCIS will accept H1B petition from April 1st, 2024. And although USCIS has not announced any official policy of fiscal year 2025 yet, but looking at the past data and historical trend, such as the fact that H1B lottery happened every year since fiscal year 2014, and the highest number of H1B registration was recorded in fiscal year 2024, it is very likely that we'd have a lottery selection for fiscal year 2025 season, just like a similar pattern and procedure like last year, especially because of the high demand of H1B. And one thing we need to get attention is that last year, the US Department of Homeland Security has proposed a rule named H1B modernization rule. And the purpose of this proposal was mainly to resolve the misuse of registration process. Under the current process, duplicate registration were detected. There were many individuals who had a higher chance to be selected in lottery with several submission of registration. So CIS and immigration attorney want to fix it. And then under the new proposal, each unique individual who has a registration submitted on their behalf would be entered into selection process just once. And just regardless of the number of registrations submitted on their behalf, they want to put the person just one time in the pool. So this is new proposal targeting promoting efficiency and fairness. And USCIS also want to working on providing new definition of specialty occupation to be eligible as H1B worker. That means that they want to provide more chance for more foreigner workers to get the H1B. So I'm expecting we might see the new change soon. And yeah, here I want to talk about what we need to do to prepare H1B petition. First, both employer and employee need to confirm on eligibilities of employee situation as H1B worker. It is important to confirm that whether your position qualify as a specialty occupation to be selected as a H1B worker. The specialty occupation is defined as a position requiring theoretical and practical application of the body of highly specialized knowledge. But if the employer normally requires an academic degree for that position, then we can consider that it is a specialty occupation. So your job title is properly selected and then named as a specialty occupation. Also, your work duty is matched with the specialty occupation as well. And the proposed salary is also proper considering your occupation and the specific location that you work at. So that was the main thing that you have to do to start an H1 petition. And after that, employer, once he decides to sponsor you, then they have to prepare the H1B registration to be submitted on the applicable date timely. And after that, employer also need to prepare labor condition application. It's named LCA and then form I-125. And this LCA, this is like a prerequisite requirement and it should be filed with the Department of Labor and must be obtained before an H1B petition can be submitted to USCIS. So it's like two main documents they have to prepare. And applicant also, you need to collect your personal information and then for history in the United States. And you also need to be ready with your diploma and then transcript because H1B is based on your academic degree. And here I'd like to go over the timeline of H1B briefly. This information is subject to change as the official announcement by USCIS has not been made. I'd like to introduce them main step and timeline for your information. So first step is creating H1B registrant account. H1B sponsor need to create this account and then this account will be used for H1B registration later. And then it will be happen assuming that from last week of February through March 1st. And second step is submitting H1B registration. H1B sponsor submit H1B registration after creating account, and you'll be able to do it after starting March 1st to mid of March. I think that March 17th of this year. And third step, here USCIS will conduct the H1B lottery selection. And the result will be informed to H1B sponsor by through the registration account. So those lottery selection will be happening after March 18, like middle of March through by the end of March. And then once employer found out that who got selected for H1B lottery selection, then for selected applicant only, H1B sponsor file the H1B petition, which is including LCA and Form I-129. And that should be starting from April 1st, and it will be continued by the end of June 2024. And during this time, USCIS also processed the H1B petition filed by H1B sponsor. They're going to find out which petition is approval or which applicant need to provide further evidence. So they're going to communicate with your attorney or employer about the further question if they have. And USCIS may conduct multiple rounds of lottery selection if necessary. If so, then second round might be happening in July 2024, maybe right after end of June 2024. But it could be happening third round or stop by to second round. We'll see what's going to happen this year. And after everything is finalized, new H1B employees began to work, and that the starting date should be October 1st, 2024. Why October 1st, 2024? Because that's the first day of the fiscal year of 2025. So October 1st, quite matching with the rule of 2025 fiscal year. So so far, so it was information about H1B petition. And I also want you to think about the scenario. What if my H1B registration was not selected? So I know that most of you guys would like to find an opportunity to work legally while staying in the United States. And you may consider a few status here. Of course, each visa and status requires specific eligibility, like specific requirement they do have, but I want to explain them briefly. So E2 is allowed if you invest substantial amount of capital in the US business, or if you're supervisory key employee of investor, then E2 visa is allowable. And L1 visa, if you're hired by the foreign company, and if the company would like to transfer you from foreign office to its office in the United States, then L1 visa is applicable. And O1 visa or status, if you can prove your extraordinary ability in the science, arts, education, business, even athletic, if you can prove it, then O1 is available for you and then you can work in the United States. And F1 visa, I know F1 visa is for studying, but you can be authorized to work legally if you have approved CPT program. And when the many H1B registration was not selected, I see many non-immigrants who was trying to maintaining their F1 visa, and then or if they were having a different visa like O1 or J1, they want to change their status to F1 because they were targeting to utilize a CPT program. And to talk about CPT program, it allows F1 students to gain work experience through employment training and paid internship, as long as the work is directly related to their major area of study area of the study. And unlike the OPT, optional practical training that we are very familiar with, CPT does not require approval from USCIS, meaning that if you are enrolled in an accredited university, you may apply for CPT through the DSO of your school. And while you are gaining your work experience through CPT program, student may seek a chance of reapplying for H1B for next fiscal year. So yeah, I saw many cases that they were not selected this year, but next year with the same sponsor, they were applying again and then they got H1B. So I'm hoping that is happening for many people here. So far, the information session is completed, and I'd like to hear from you guys about the question that we have.
Yes, we do have, thank you so much for your presentation, Joyce. And before we go ahead and and do the questions. We do have several questions we received from email and social media that students are interested in. So we're gonna go ahead and answer them real quick, and we're gonna do the live Q&A session. So if you have a questions, feel free to type that into Q&As, and our colleagues it's gonna collect them, and we're gonna go that one by one. All right, so let's do the first one. If I am not selected in the H1B lottery and plan to change jobs between April and October, that time frame, but my old company's H1B application then gets selected. If, for example, if there's like a second round, can it still be activated?
Unmuted. Can you hear
Yes.
me? Yeah.
Yes. Now we can
Sorry.
hear you.
So in this case, I think that in general, if the employee left company, the sponsoring employer files a written withdrawal of the petition, but I guess it didn't happen, and that's why her petition was selected. I'm not able to say yes or no for this question, but you may have an opportunity to speak with your previous employer. Especially H1B petition is requesting your employment starting from October 1st of this year. So if H1B sponsor is willing to rehire you and you may work, you want to work with them with the condition indicated in H1B petition, yes, maybe you can start to talk to previous employer. I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Second question, how long does it usually take from starting an employment green card application to having that green card? And do I need an H1B to even apply for a green card?
So the processing time of green card is very depending on various factors like the USCIS workload and the accuracy of your application, any potential issue that might arise during your review process. But in general, I see that it takes about at least 1 year and up to 2 or 3 years to get the green card. And to apply for the green card while staying in the United States, you have to maintain your valid visa or valid status. And H1B is the status for you to apply for the green card. So because you can apply to green card while having different type of status, I don't say that you need a H1B, but it is good for you to have H1B to begin the green card process because H1B has your intent, the intent to work and intent to reside in the United States. So definitely having H1B is good for you to start green card process.
Absolutely. Number three, will the H1B registration fee increase for next year? Will this kind of fluctuation affect the numbers of applicants? And when will we see, when will we know if the fee is gonna increase or not?
Although last year, I know that USCIS proposed H1B visa e-registration fee should be changed from $10 to $215. It did not decide yet, but I don't think it will happen considering the opinion, information amongst the immigration attorney. But even if we see the fee change by USCIS in the future, from my opinion, the high demand of H1B will be continued, considering its good aspect, like including your intent of H1B. So they're competitive.
Yes, yes, fair enough. Next question, what is regular H1B and then the H1B master cap? What are the main difference?
So I briefly mentioned when I started the presentation, but the US Congress caps the number of new H1B visa or status available for foreign workers. Generally, the cap is set as 85,000 to new H1B worker, and that it is including 20,000 reserved for candidate with US master degree. So that means that if you have a master degree, then you can think that 20,000 spot is like set aside for the master people. And then once its cap is filled, then the 65,000 spot is available for both the people who has a BA degree or master as well.
Okay. Next question. Can I apply for a green card while I'm on day one CPT?
Um, Yeah, although F1 visa does not allow the your intent unlike H1 visa, and then its original intent, like study abroad, does not make you an individual eligible to apply for permanent residence in the United States. But many students actually find opportunity to apply for a green card in the United States, and it actually works. So if you have maintained F1 status validly and work legally under CPT program, you may apply for a green card as long as you have qualified sponsor and you do not violate any other immigration law.
Okay, sounds good. Now, last question. Is there any risk for my company if I use Day One CPT to continue work? And how to convince the company that it is doing Day One CPT is legal?
So if you attend the accredited school as a full-time student, and if your internship is authorized by the approved CPT, there's no risk for the company. But your work experience internship should be like directly related to their major area of study law. So yeah, please speak with your school DSO to find more information, or you can speak with Go Elite team to confirm more related information. But yeah, my answer is no risk for that. Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. And we have some students coming to us to ask about how do we convince the employer, and feel free to talk to our consultant. They might have a way to help you, write an email or a verification letter just to help you uh support you to do that. And uh okay, we're done with the pre-selected questions, and after here we're gonna shift gears to the questions that we have live here. So we have a bunch of questions. So number one, can a candidate apply for multiple H1B lottery application through multiple companies?
So multiple company can sponsor that. It is legal to do so. But last year with the registration process, USCIS observed that one company was submitting duplicate package for one employee. So that was very problematic. And they're quite avoiding it. But different company can sponsor one person. That is possible.
Okay. If I get selected and have to apply for cap gap, can I leave the US? How is the H1B stamping works?
So that means that if you leave the country, that you have to make a process through the embassy in your foreign country. So yeah, you can do that. You can go back to your country, but the processing procedure is quite different. Like here is like you're waiting to get the communication to USCIS by mail, but yeah, everything interview, everything is through the US embassy in the foreign country.
Okay. So that means the person have to go through a visa interview before they re.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Next
Mhm.
question. If multiple H1B are filed, will there be any problem? I think we sort of, talk about that in the first questions, but also kind of share, what are the problems behind the multiple H1B, lottery attempt.
So yeah, the multiple H1B is quite like confusing word here because whether that means that one sponsor is submitting several duplicate petition for one person, or different sponsor is submitting different
Oh
informational
yeah.
packet to employer, right? Employee,
Yeah,
right?
if you just have one sponsor and but submitted a bunch of H1B petition, that would be a huge red flag. But having
Right.
multiple employer, how about that?
Yeah, it's like quite similar to question one, but
Yeah.
that is okay. But as technically, it's hard to find multiple employer sponsor for H1B. But if it's possible, yeah, it work out.
Yeah, because the harsh requirement is that every job has to be a real job. And I think we see evidence of people getting caught because they had fake agencies or they have
Right.
jobs that are not, they didn't get the job. They're not planning to be in that company. They're
Mhm.
not in the position of receiving that job. They just want additional help, additional parties to help them to sponsor the H1Bs. And those kind of are actions are dangerous, and USCIS are actually cracking down multiple registration H1B registration
Right.
if some of the jobs or you're not going to go to some of the jobs. I think
And
that's
also, yeah, if I add more information, already mentioned about it during the presentation, but after H1B modernization rule is proposed, we are still waiting for the outcome though. They are quite like targeting that only they are like the lottery selection is based on the like social security number of person or specific number of each person, and then
yeah, I
each
believe it's a
person's
passport number.
information, right, passport number, right. So that information, once it's selected, that means that I will just have a one-time chance to be
Yes.
selected, even regardless of many multiple petition. So we don't know it's gonna be happen, but I assume that this is something targeting by USCIS.
Yes, I think they are heading to that direction. I don't know if it's gonna happen this year, next year, but I
Right.
think once it happens, the selection rate of H1B is definitely gonna increase. So that will be a good news.
Mhm.
And okay, we're done with question number three. And next question, I'm working with a nonprofit company and they have filled my cap accept H1B visa. So how, if I wanted to change my employer from a nonprofit to profit, do you understand that process?
Oh, so currently he has a sponsorship from a nonprofit company, and then it's changing to she's trying to change employer to profit company, right? Nonprofit. So yeah, like having a sponsor from nonprofit company, that's good because that means that your spot is not capped. It's not like within the 85,000 capped spot year, right? So you have a better chance to be selected. But yes, you can change it. You can change it, but definitely that means that you're giving up your chance, like utilizing non-exam selection. And I don't know whether this is a question that you already filed the petition or are you considering it? I don't know. It might answer be changed different based on your situation, but yeah, definitely you can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in our presentations, Joyce didn't mention about the cap accept H1B, but very real quick, cap accept is just the H1B that they gave to specific organizations or nonprofit. So
Right,
in that H1B visa, you don't have to go through the lottery. Like if you are
right.
then you got the visa. You don't have to go through the lottery. There's no cap. But but cap accept H1B and regular H1B are very different. They're
Mhm.
considered like two different routes. So if you
Right.
wanted to do regular H1B, you're like anyone else in here. So you have to go through the lottery again, and you have to have a sponsor, lottery, get selected, and then do the application if that help
Especially,
questions.
right, if you're giving up the chance of a non-exam selection, like if we are getting sponsorship from the regular like profit company, that means that timeline is more sensitive. So like sponsor need to follow the deadline for creating account and filing the petition. So more likely sensitive and tight schedule you have to follow. So that's like a main not concern, but main thing that you have to consider when you change the employer.
Yes, we share about the timeline, and I really wanted to emphasize if you want to go for H1B this year, right now you have to do it because
Mhm.
after March, there's no time left. So a regular H1B have a time cap, that the employer have to enter all of your application and then your basic informations before March 1st, and then they will do the lottery. But for cap accept, there is no timeline, so you can apply anytime you want. So that will be another of
Or
the difference.
right, generally, yeah, more
Yeah.
lenient for that.
Let us go to the next question. Is there any requirements for the scale of the company that employed me, if I wanted to get an H1B? And I'm working for a smaller company, just with several employees. So that's his concern or her concern.
Oh, the number of employee doesn't matter as being qualification of a sponsor, but the USCIS will see that whether the company is able to provide a proper salary to this foreign worker, especially by looking at the LCA labor certificate application. That really suggests the like proposed salary for this specific occupation. So they need to confirm that whether the company has a sufficient financial ability to provide a proposed salary. But yeah, the number of employee doesn't matter, but the fee of employee sponsor need to pay certain fees for H1B, and then owner fee is quite different depending on the number of employees. So the borderline is like 25 employee or not, or depending on that number, they can pay more money or less money.
Yeah, but no matter up or under 25, even if you have several, you could legally apply for H1B. It is just the fees are different. But
Right.
basically, if they passed the LCA, they could apply for an H1B visa.
Correct. They will just review the previous tax record of company, like in the past 3 years or last year, full records. They're gonna review it. But if they decide that, oh, they can hire new worker and provide his salary, then that is fine.
Okay. Next question. Uh, does day one CPT hurt me when I apply for H1B? If a RFE is requested, what kind of document would be needed?
So first, I want to let you know that for applying CPT, there's no RFE because CPT is like approval by the DSO of school, not like a communication or requesting to USCIS. So RFE means like request for further evidence by USCIS. So you don't need to worry about RFE when you apply for CPT. You just need to select the proper program and then proper communication with school and the employer. And I'm assuming that the student was asking whether having F1 visa and doing CPT would be hurtful for her to apply H1B in the future. And the answer is no, because you're just having F1 visa validly and you are doing CPT legally as it was approved by school. And then applying to H1B is not a problem. I mean, like if you're eligible to become an H1B worker with the proper sponsor, changing to H1B is okay as long as you're selected for lottery of H1B lottery selection. So yeah, no need to worry about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, main thing that people focus on is if the students, while they're doing day one CPT, if the students are maintaining a full F1 student status, or if they are doing what a F1 students were supposed to do. So to this person's question, they're asking what kind of documents might be needed in the RFEs. So to our history with working with lots of students, even if they get RFE, they will maintain some of the documents. They will show some of the documents, and all of them get passed. The documents will be a class attendance record showing that you actually have go to the physical school instead of just doing full online, because full online are not allowed by USCIS for international students. So attendance record, you're also gonna show some of the assignment that you did, and also you're gonna, write a letter showing that, hey, my student responsibilities are this, what I've learned, what I did in this school, what my takeaways are, what my CPT jobs are. And once you provided those records, all of them get passed in the RFE. So to Joy's point, I think day one CPT definitely is not going to hurt your chances to get our H1B approved. Instead, if you do day one CPT, you might have additional shots to H1B to have, several years working or staying in the US, so you can go for H1B even if not selected, if I'm making
Thanks,
sense.
Brian. Yeah, I went to talk about RFE required document. You already covered the answer. And then I actually want to emphasize that those documents that you mentioned is very important for everyone to keep it until you get the green card interview. If you're thinking to apply for a green card, because eventually, like when you apply for a green card in the United States, when they want to have interview with you, they are actually want to see that the record of your school assignment and project work every like received for tuition, they really want to see the actual evidence. So it's very good material for RFE responses. At the same time, please keep them with you for the future interview in green card.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the next question. If I get H1B, but my visa is expiring before October, and am I able to cap a gap? And how much time would it take for the cap gap?
Oh, so your visa, your status expiring before October, and then you have to think of the F1 visa, F1 status, before you're getting the H1B. So yes, you can do that. You are quite like changing your status to F1 status, and then once your H1B is approved, then it'll be changed to starting as of October 1st. So you just need to follow the instruction, like properly filing I-539 to change your status to F1 while waiting for H1B. And but once H1B is selected, the petition is approved, then automatically your status will be changed to H1B as of October 1st.
Yes, and I think if you are currently a F1 student, then you don't need change status. If
Correct.
that case, once your H1B got approved, you automatically have the cap gap. So you don't really
Mhm.
have to apply for additional stay in the US. You could, for example, if you're on the OPT, your OPT will be automatically extended to October 1st, and then you will have your H1B started. But since the H1B lottery haven't started yet, we do recommend you if your OPT is ending this year to have a backup plan, whether it's day one CPT, O1, L1, or other kind of green card sponsors. You need to have a backup plan. So in case, just in case. Okay, let's go to the next question. I've learned that for some CPT programs allow students to work full-time, and some program doesn't allow students to work in the first semester, but I'm not quite clear how the process and the differences are. And I think I'll be able to answer this
Yes,
question
please.
because this is more related to a school setting because every school we work with, although they are a legitimate school, but they have their different program settings. So some schools might believe, for example, initial students, they're not convinced that they could start their job right away. They might need one semester to, fit into the American life or study more before they can get the real job. But some schools tend to be more confident because the admissions, the students that they enroll, they believe their ability. So that's why they will give them CBT on day one. So it varies on the school settings, but most of the day one CBT school we work with are able to start from the first semester or day one, if you could say. Next question. So my OPT expires this year in June, and I need to apply for STEM OPT extension. Would that affect my H1B application?
Oh, the answer is no, no specific effect to H1B application. You just need to follow the instruction procedure to make a STEM OPT extension. And then once your H1B petition is approved successfully, then automatically change to H1B.
Yes, you don't need any additional application. If you wanted to, for your status sake, if you apply for STEM OPT extension first, and then you get selected, uh, uh, your H1B become effective, your STEM OPT will automatically be canceled. But there was no bad influence on that. It is just when your H1B come into effect, your F1 visa are out. So you are now H1Bs. So those two doesn't really have an effect on each other. They just it really depends on what your current status is and what serves the best for yourself. Okay, next question. When is the new H1B proposed rule is expected to be announced?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that the news. I'm very excited to waiting for to see that. We are expecting that it will be announced by the end of January. That's what they said last year. And then once it is announced, maybe it will be effective within like 60 or 90 days immediately, like this year. So everyone's quite watching it. But yeah, every day I'm seeing it, but no update yet. But if something happened, maybe by the end of January of this year.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have plenty of webinars talking about H1B and other visas. So feel free to contact us, get the recent, event list so you don't miss when the informations are out. We're gonna do another webinar to talk about what specific details have been aired out. So make sure you guys stay tuned. And next question, would I be eligible for up to 3 years of OPT after completing a day one CPT program with STEM focus.
So it's meaning that the student already had a STEM CPT program and then eligible for the OPT program after that, like after finishing school, right? Yeah.
Yes, basically the question is, are the person still eligible for a OPT extension if they did day one CPT, STEM day one CPT?
Oh, I think it is depending on the duration of a CPT program. I don't know in detail about the student situation. I can't tell in detail, but yeah, we need to check the duration, how many days you spend with the CPT program, and after figuring out that number first, we can tell that you're eligible for OPT, like after you graduate from the school.
Yeah, and just for general tips, there are two things to consider. First thing is that if you wanted to do a 3 years OPT plus OPT extension, uh you have to you have to fulfill one condition, which is you haven't done the OPT in that level. For example, if you already did a master OPT, there's no chance you're gonna get another master OPT. Only OPT are only for once every degree level, if that makes sense. And the second condition is if you did CPT full time, which is more than 20 hours per week, more than 1 year. So you did CPT, you work full-time job with day one CPT for more than 1 year, you're not eligible for any OPT. And this is not a risk. This is just a specific requirements by the USCIS. And just to get the OPT, maybe you can try to work for full-time CPT under than a year and then go for part-time CPT after that. So you can work, throughout the whole program, but just not if you want to get OPT, just not the, 2 year program, just not the whole program with full-time CPT. You can do, 1 year full-time, 1 year part-time, and that should be good. I hope that answers your question. Next question, can I travel abroad while on day one CPT as an F1 student?
Yes, there's no problem to travel outside. Having CPT is maybe they think that you're working, so I wonder whether you can go outside of the United States, but you're maintaining F1 visa validly, and then you're doing CPT program validly. So to travel outside, there's no problem.
Yes, I absolutely think you can, but also need to prepare with questions. So people might ask you questions, uh,
Mhm.
especially if you're gonna go through the F1 visa renewal. If you are getting a new F1 visa, you're gonna go through the visa interview, then definitely be prepared with questions
Of course.
on how your CPT work is, how are you studying in the school and stuff like that. Okay, next question. I'm a student graduating this May and has signed an offer with a company in August to work in August. I'm wondering if I should apply for OPT before I graduate. If yes, when should I start applying for OPT?
So here the students got the good job offer letter. Congratulations. But I don't have an information that whether she has any H1B or other proper visa to work, right? I'm assuming that she had a F1 visa and then doesn't have any other option to work in the United States legally. That means that OPT is definitely necessary for her. So when apply for that, actually, applying for PT is quite like vary as long as you can do it within the grace period, 60 days from the graduation date. But since you are doing August 1st, you can quite like wait about 60 days and then make it that the starting date of PT is around August. So starting date would be quite matching with your starting date of at OPT. And once you got the OPT, like approved OPT, out of year, there's 90 days that you don't need to work. Like for 90 days, you don't need to be employed by a sponsor. So think about those rules and then get the timeline. But yeah, definitely it's time to apply for OPT.
Absolutely. Next question. If I'm selected in the H1B lottery, can I legally switch status from F1 to H1B?
So student has maintained F1 status and then was selected to H1B lottery, right? This is the situation.
Mm.
Uh, yes, legally you are switching your status from H1 to H1B. There's nothing to do for you like applying or I mean like changing document or something. Once your H1B is selected, then your status is switched automatically.
Yes, yes. Next question, will I get any notification if H1B is filled by an employer?
Oh, so like I mean the registration, once H1B submit the H1B registration, whether you got notified about it. It's
Mhm.
more likely the employer's communication with you. So every communication about the registration of H1B submission is happening through the H1B registrant account that is created by sponsor. So I expect that you don't get any notification from USCIS separately, but employer is getting notification from the USCIS. They need to access the account to see that whether this person got denied or approved, selected, everything is found in that information. So to this question, yeah, no other notification to employee, unless employer lets you know as a part of internal communication.
That's right. Next question, what is the overall percentage of getting the lottery for students that have master or above degrees?
So it's really hard question to answer because we don't know the exact number. Even in presentation, I said that last year the selection rate was about like less than 30%, like less than 25%. It was including both regular cap and a master cap. And here is specifically asking about master cap only, right? But I can't say that, but I just can provide that there's additional 20,000 cap for the master degree applicable.
Yes. Slightly more than the regular selection rate, which was 24.2% this year. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but it's gonna be more than that. But because the case numbers are that huge, it's not gonna be a main difference. We're expecting to be single digit difference uh, in that original selection rate. So next question, when to apply for day one CPT? Before F1 visa expiration or before STEM OPT expiration? Is that what it means? I
Oh,
don't, I'm not sure if I got the questions right.
yeah, I was also a little confused when reading this question, but definitely applying day one CPT, I think that this student is planning to change her or his status to F1 to do the CPT program. And to do so, every time when you do make a change of your status, the filing required form should happen before your expiration date of current status. So uh, I'm a bit confused when he mentioned F1B's expiration or before STEM expiration. Ryan, do you have
Just to clarify a few things. Um, F1 visa, if you're talking about F1 visa, uh, if your F1 visa expired, it's okay. But if your F1 status expires, then you have to be out of the country. So there's a main difference. If you come in the US with an F1 visa and now it expired, but you're still doing your OPT, you have your I-20, you're good. You're good here. You don't have to, renew the F1 visa. You can just stay here. But then if your F1 status expired, uh, and you have to, transfer your CVIS to an active school for day one CPT before that expired, because when that expires, it's going to be harder in that sense.
so I
And
assume that it's before STEM expiration. I think he
yes,
meant to,
before every
right?
kind of
Yeah,
status
before.
expire.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Because F1 visa already expired, but still she can stay here as long as he has a valid A20 and then STEM was activated, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Next question. This is a really good question. Does USCIS check my income or tax during CPT or OPT, when I'm in the process of H1B application?
Mm. So yes, they do see that record. If you're filing H1B petition, and if you have work in the United States through the CPT or OPT, it's really recommended to submit any tax documentation with H1B petition. So they are under their review. However, they don't see that how much money you really earn, or like the amount of income is not really relevant. They just want to see that whether you work legally here, and then you were supposed to pay for tax, but if you didn't make a taxation properly, there would be a problem. So they just want to make sure that you pay tax properly, and then especially for OPT, they maybe see that whether your occupation or job was quite relevant to your academic degree that you earned, because OPT is quite allowed for you for the job that is consistently relevant to your academic degree, right? So those information is quite reviewed by USCIS, but not the income itself.
Yeah, they don't necessarily check your income, but remember when you're doing the H1B application, your employer, your company has to submit your job offer to them. They have to
Mhm.
tell them what kind of jobs are you're doing, that they are applying for H1B for you, and then they're also gonna tell them what kind of income are you earning from that particular job. But besides that job, they wouldn't necessarily check what other incomes you have.
Thanks, Ryan.
And next question, I'm currently on an H4 visa and would like to change to H1B. My employer doesn't sponsor, and getting a new job will take time because the H4 visa expires. Do you have any general advice for me?
So she's having H4 and then want to change to H1B visa, but sponsor is not willing to provide a job at the moment. And then her visa will be expired in 5 months. I wonder whether her spouse has any plan to change to different status visa. Then the first option is, for her would be that just stick with the spouse of dependent status of her spouse. So if her spouse is changing to certain different category, then this H4 visa applicant can be changed as a dependent of different visa, or easily, not easily, but she can change her status to F1, because F1 status quite relatively can be approved quickly, as long as she find the proper education institute, and then having a financial ability. So she changed her status to F1, and then maybe working with that sponsor through CPT program. And then next year, next fiscal year, if sponsor is willing to sponsor her for H1B, then she can try with that shot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you have a follow-up personal questions, feel free to scan the QR codes and you can book a meeting with Joyce to talk specifically about change status because we also deal with a lot of change status students in here. And Joyce, I think you also work with a lot of H4 students, so maybe you can provide more insightful advice for this particular person. Next question, I wanted to also know how I add my lawyer into the process of H1B instead of just waiting on my employer to check for me.
So for H1B petition, it's quite like necessary the communication with employer and a lawyer together. So I see that the employer quite like hire attorney on their end, or sometimes they ask employee to find lawyer for H1 petition, and then like they're like getting the connection with the employee find attorney and then introduce it to employer. Either way is possible, but um I don't know. This question is like asking that employee is really communicating with lawyer only without the communication with
I think
employer.
this person wanted to figure out like if there's a way, you know, his or her part of the lawyers could also come into the H1B application because now you're relying on your company's lawyer. But if, my own lawyer can be added into the
I
application.
see. I mean, if employer is allowing to do so, that's possible. But the only 1G28, meaning that the attorney's petition for certain petition is allowed just once. So if you want to replace the attorney as your attorney for H1B instead of company's attorney, then G20 should be changed. Like G20 should be given up by company's attorney, but your attorney need to submit UG 28. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we're right on time. We still have a couple haven't answered yet. So we're gonna, do another webinar hopefully in the future to answer everybody's questions. I'm gonna answer the last one, which is Day 1 CBT allows students to work full-time remotely. The answer is yes. If you have, a legitimate job that you can provide it to your Day 1 CBT school of your job qualification, your job offer, as well as some of the schools will request verification letter from the employer. As long as you prove that your work is valid, you don't have to be in person for that work to apply for Day 1 CPT. However, you have to be in person to attend classes in school to be maintaining your status as a Day 1 CPT students because there's no fully online classes for Day 1 CPT, but you can work fully online. That is fine.